Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are going to start where we have left from the previous video when we talked about object-oriented programming in Python. So if you haven't watched the first tutorial about OOP in Python, I highly recommend that you should watch the first tutorial. Now this is the second tutorial about object-oriented programming in Python. So in today's video we are going to make the program by using the class method. In the previous video we have made the program that to count the number of instances present in a class. So we are going to make the same program in a different way, so that we know that there are so many ways in programming to do the same thing, so we should know the maximum number of ways to do a thing. So let's get started. Now to count the number of instances I must need to create a class. I name this class laptop, and count is the variable, the class variable we have discussed in previous video, that how can we create the class variable. Count is the class variable, and I am going to create a variable d which is discount. So I am going to apply the discount, which is the 40% in all of the laptops present in our class. Alright, now I am going to make my initial function, which is initiator, and the first argument is self, and we have the brand here, model, and price. Alright, now I need to call the count variable, which is the list, which is the basically the class variable. So as we discussed that we can call the value of the count variable by using the class and dot the variable name, and then I'm going to increment it, which is alright. Now we have self dot brand is equals to brand, and then we have self dot model is equals to model, and then we have self dot price, which is equals to price. Now that these all the things we have discussed in previous videos, that's why we use these steps. Now I am going to use these @ to call the class method. So I can use the class method to identify the object of the function. Now I am using my function. The name of the function we can here is count instances. So the name of the function that we are counting the instances present in a class, so I name is class instances. You can name it whatever you want, and the argument of the function basically is CLS, and then I can directly return here you have created. So basically whatever the instances we have in all the classes, in all this class laptop, we will be giving as an argument, and which will be stored in as an argument of CLS. The advantage to use the CLS as an argument, that I don't need to use as many arguments of the function as the instances in my class. So I need to just count the instances, so I can directly write here CLS dot count. So whatever the value of this count will be present here, which will be incremented here, will appear. Now you have created this much instances of laptop class. Laptop is the name of the class. I should write here laptop, which is class. We have class laptop here. So now I'm going to create another function, which is the discount function. So in the argument is self here, and I need to apply the discount here. So I need to create which is the actual price here. So actual price must be stored in F, and then I need to calculate the discount. That actual value must be multiplied with the class variable, which is discount here, and must be divided by 100. Alright, now I need to minus the actual value with the discount, so the discounted price will be stored in DIS, and then I can simply return D. Now the first instance we have the laptop 1 here. I'm the class, the name of the class, and then the brand, model. These all the things we have also done in the previous video, but just we are using these things only, that we haven't used this class method as the decorator. And then we have L2 laptop, and we have Apple's laptop, which is the brand. Suppose that the brand is the same, Intel, and the price is 89,000, suppose. So it's all done. So as you can see, if I run this program, so wait, before running the program I should print the number of instances. You can see that we haven't print the number of instances, for we are making the program to count the number of instances we have in the class. So we have two L1 and L2. So I should write here laptop dot count instances. Alright, yes, the spelling, yes, okay. So as you can see, if I run this program, you can see that you have created two instances of laptop class. So this is the same program we have made in which we have made at the last of the previous video. This is the same program, but here we are using this new, and we are using the argument. We don't need to create argument again and again here. So we should know different ways to do one thing. So now we can use class method as an instructor also. So suppose if I want to print the output in a dictionary format, that I want the output must be appear in dictionary data type, so I can use also the class method as a constructor basically. So how can I use it? So suppose these all the things are same, I am removing it from here, and I am going to create a function called string. So this string takes two arguments. First is the CLS, which takes all the arguments, and then we have also the S. So basically, if we want to use another argument, we need to use the class method as a constructor basically. Now we have, suppose, three informations of the laptop basically. First we have the brand, second we have the model, and third we have the price. So for these three, all the three information, I am creating a variable A, B and C. So these all the things must be stored in S, and S must be split by inverted commas, by the comma. Alright, now I can directly return here CLS and A, B and C. Alright, sorry. Now alright, this looks fine. Now I need to create an object that, suppose L is the name and the class name, and string. The first is del again, del, and now I need to print my output in a dictionary data type. So the name of the instance and dictionary keyword. Now it's fine. So as you can see, if I run this program, there is an error. What is it saying? Yes, sorry, that we have just written here that the split method must be separated by the commas. So these all the information about the laptop must be in a single instance. Now this is the single information must be stored in S basically. So as you can see, if I run this program, you can see that my output is appearing in a dictionary form, dictionary data type. So we have brand is the tel, and we have the model, and we have the price. Now the static method we use for the functions which has no arguments. So let's take an example to understand the static method. Now I am going to create a class called person, and I'm going to make the initiator here. So in this initiator, the first argument is self, and then we have the first name, and then the last name, and then the age of that person. Alright, now so I'm just going to pass this. I don't need to do anything to proceed with this initiator function. I'm going to create another function. Before creating another function, I'm going to call my static method. So after calling this static method, I can use a function which is hello. You can name the function whatever you want, and then I'm going to add hello world. It is the simplest program we have in object-oriented programming, but to understand the static method, I can use it. So, and then I can just need to call the name of the class, and inside, and we have hello function. So as you can see, if I call this hello function with the name of the class, it will print the hello world. You can see that hello world is printing here. You can also see that this function is not taking any argument. So this is the simple program to understand the static method. Basically we use the function which has no argument. Now let's move towards the inheritance. So basically, what is inheritance? So I think we should take an example, and in that example I will tell you what is basically the meaning of inheritance in object oriented programming. Now I am going to create a class called phone. We have a class phone, and then again we have our initiator, so I should just copy these information, that brand, model and price, from here to here so we can save our time. Alright, now so I'm going to create another function called full name. So this full name take the argument we can directly return here self dot its brand, and then self dot model. Alright, now I am going to create another function called call, and this function take self and number to whom we are calling, and then we can return calling on number. Alright, and then we should place here dot dot dot. Alright, now I am going to create another class which is basically is inherited from this phone class. So I am going to name this class smartphone, and because it is inherited from this phone class, so I have to mention here that the name of the parent class. So the phone class is the parent class and smartphone is the child class. As we all know, the child is inherited some properties from parents, same as here, that smartphone will have the same object as the parent but also has some other objects also, just like the camera and memory space, etc. We will define this in the initial function. So I am going to define its child's class initial function, which is here. So these all the arguments we have are inherited from parent class phone. So we have also some other arguments like internal memory and rear camera. Alright, the child class has internal memory and rear camera. These two are the extra objects basically. This is all these elements. As we all know that these three, price, model and brand, we have already mentioned in phone class. So basically to access these three values we have to use a function which is called super. This super function we use to access the value of from the parent class. Now I am going to initiate this function and write the name of the arguments. We have brand, we have model and we have price. Alright, now rest of the function I should also write here RAM, which is also basically the unique part of the mobile. That alright, now I am going to assign in self to access the values, that self.ram is RAM and we have internal memory is equals to, now we can access all the values of the argument. Now I am going to give the value that P1 is our phone 1 and the name of the class is phone, and I am going to that the which is Nokia is the brand and model 3310. We have given the values which are belongs to the parent arguments, that we have brand, model and price. Now to give the values to the child's arguments, just like RAM and internal memory and rear camera, we must write the name of the parent's class, and now inside the name I should write here the arguments of child's class. So we have, suppose we have Motorola. Now I can also call the full name. I can also call the function which is defined in the parent class. So to do this and to directly print, so I am going to use the name of the child's class and call the function's name, which is full name, and I am using a string formatting to print the other objects, and price is and price is smartphone dot price. Now it is completed. So basically what we have done so far, we first created the parent class, which is phone here, and this phone has the information about the phone's brand and model and price. And inside this class we also created our desired function, which is full name, and in this function we are creating basically the full name of the mobile, which includes the brand and the model of the phone. And then we also created a function called call number, which we also can give in the argument, and also assign the value of the number here if we want. And then after that we inherited a child class, we call it the smartphone class, and in this class the name of the parent class must be appear in the parenthesis and the argument of the subclass or the child class. And then we are going to define the arguments of this child class. These three arguments are the same, and we also include the three other arguments, which are the RAM and internal memory and the camera of the phone. And then to access these values from the parent, we already defined these three in the parent class, so we use this super function and call them here. And then after that, the three remaining arguments we manually assign them, and then we have the p1 over the phone, and we fulfill the requirements of our parent class arguments, and then we call all the details about smartphones by using this syntax here. You can see that. And then we call the full name this function by using the child's class here. You can see that. And then we use string formatting to print the remaining value. So as you can see, if I run this program, there is an error which is saying that phone is not defined. So yes, I should write the p small here. So as you can see, yes, basically I should not use the parenthesis here because it is not a function, it is the class. Smartphone is the child's class. So as you can see, if I run this program, you can see here that Motorola Turbo 2, basically it is the full name. Instead of writing here these syntax again and again, I just called the function which is already defined in the parent class. I can call it here, and after that I will integrate it with the another, which is the price, and the price is whatever the price I defined in the smart phone class will appear here. So as you can see that how can we inherit both classes from parent class to child class. So there are more details to it, that we can also create multiple scenarios, that if we want to write here about the RAM, and suppose if I write here and its RAM is, so I can directly write here smartphone dot RAM, so that its RAM, you can see that, and its RAM is 6 GB. Alright, so and we can also create multiple scenarios, and it depends upon the requirement. I hope it is clear. It will be more clear when we will discuss about multi-level inheritance. So as you can see here, we just created a class, and we have only one subclass or a child class here. So we can also create multiple classes one after another. So let's discuss this. So suppose after the smartphone class we have another class, we call it flagship phone. So if I write here another class, which is suppose ship phone. So, and it is this flagship phone is inherited from this smartphone. So any class which is inherited from any previous class, the name of the previous class must be appear here. So I write here smartphone. It must have all the arguments which this class is inherited from. So basically still phone is the parent and these both are the child, and from child to child it is inherited, and it has all the arguments. I can also include some more arguments here. Front camera, the more details about the phone. So we have also here the front camera. To access all the previous arguments, we must use the super function as we discussed earlier. I just need to copy it from here and should just paste here to save time. So, and then we have multiple arguments. After the price we have RAM, and these all the arguments are the part of this subclass. So I just pasted here. So now front camera should not be included here because this is the new argument and we must give it manually. Front camera is equals to front camera. Let's comment out this all the code here. Let's comment out this code. So I am naming the phone is OnePlus is the name of the phone, and it is calling this flagship class. So the name of the class is here, and then the arguments are Motorola, and we have. So now I can print OnePlus dot full name. So basically instead of calling all the arguments, these three which are already defined in the full name, I should just call the full name here, and I must write the parenthesis to call the function, and I can just directly use the string formatting which I previously used here. This. Right. So as you can see, if I run this program, there is an error. What is it saying? That the OnePlus, oh my bad, I should write here OnePlus correctly. If I again run this program, okay, so we need to use basically the variable which stored all the arguments here. So we need to write the name of the mobile, which is OnePlus. So as you can see, if I run this program, you can see that Motorola Turbo and price is this and its RAM is this, and basically it is Turbo, and I forgot to put the gap here. Yes, now it looks fine. That its RAM is this, and we can also put the front camera if we want to. So that is how we can create multi-level inheritance from between classes to class. So first we have discussed that how can we use the parent class, and then we have discussed that how can we call the elements from a smartphone, and then we can discuss that how can we call the elements or the arguments from the multi-level inheritance by using this flagship phone class, which is inherited from the child class, from child to child inheritance. So now I hope after all this program the concept of multi-level inheritance is clear. Now let's move towards isinstance method. Basically, what is isinstance method? Isinstance method basically takes two arguments, first the object name and then the class name. So if the object is defined in the class, it returns true, otherwise it will return false. So let's take an example here. So I'm going to comment out this, and I'm going to print we have isinstance method, and it takes two arguments as we discussed. So first the object name. The object name is 1 plus, which is here, and so the class is this flagship phone, which we have just right here. And then if I run this program, you can see that it is returning value true. So why it is returning true? Because this 1 plus belongs to this class. We are giving arguments by mentioning the class name here. You can see that. I hope it is clear. Now let's move towards the issubclass method. So let's take an example. So basically it is a function we can determine whether or not this class inherited by this class or not. We can suppose that we know that a smartphone, this child class is inherited from phone class, which is written here. So we can check this by this method, that is subclass. So if we write here print, and to check this, check smartphone and phone. Yes, it is returning true that a smartphone class is inherited from phone class. And if I write here this class, you can see that it is also true, because this class is also inherited from phone class indirectly. So if I write here basically the phone and smartphone, we all know that the phone class is not inherited from smartphone, because phone basically is the parent and smartphone is a child. So it cannot be inherited from a smartphone. So if I run this program, it should return false. Yes, it is returning false. Now let's proceed further. We have a resolution order example. So basically resolution order through example, we have that which class created first and which class is inherited from which class. So to understand the resolution order, we are going to consider an example. So in this example, said that we already know that we can directly inherit as many classes as we want. So suppose I'm going to create, it is a basic example to understand that suppose it is a class A, and there is a method which is method A. So in this method, the argument is self, and I'm going to return that I am just a class A method. So basically it will, when the function will execute, it should print that I'm just a class A method. And another method I'm going, which is hello, and this function, this argument is also self, and it will return hello from class A, suppose it is. Now we have another class which is class B, and again we have method B. So I can return here, I should copy it directly, that I am a method of class B, and the same thing I should copy from here, hello from class B. So as I have a class which is inherited from these two classes, which is class C. So basically class C will be inherited with both B and A, and I'm just going to pass it because we don't need to do anything with class C. I am going to check the order of the class C, so I can directly check it. C So basically by using this MRO method, I can directly check the order. Oh, yes, I should write here self. How can I forget it? Okay, you can see here. Basically, it is saying that the class C will be inherited from B and A, which are the class object basically. So this we can also check the order by another syntax, which is just like this. MRO, just like this. And in this program, we can see that we have the same output, which is basically telling us first we have the class object, and then we have class A, B, and then we have the C. So it should be from right to left. Alright. Now I hope that it is clear. Now we move towards the Speacial, magic, and Dunder methods. So what are these Speacial, magic, and Dunder methods? So these are the predefined methods in object-oriented programming. We have two main Dunder methods, Str and we have Repr. Now there is an article for all of these types we have here. I will put the link in the description. You can just go through for knowledge. So as you can see here, we have this str to get called by built-in str function to return a string representation of a type. So and then we have repr to get, it is basically a built-in function, but it always return object in a string, and which is the machine readable. We will discuss both in an example. So there is also an official description about these the difference between str and repr. You can see that here, that the repr, which is the built-in function to compute the official string representation of an object. So it should look like the valid expression. You can see that here. So basically what is the difference between here is that this methods repr returns always the string object. There is no expectation str return a valid Python expression, more convenient and concise representation. Basically repr, this function is returns the information rich output as compared to str. So now let's consider an example. So I am going to create a class which is phone. So we already created so many class with the phone, so I'm just going to copy and paste it from here to here. Alright, I am going to create a function which is phone name. So this function take self as an argument, and I am going to return same self dot, we have brand here, and then we have self dot model here. Now we are first going to use this str function. To use this, it is just like the initiator function. We need to initiate it, and it takes the argument self, and I can just directly return the same information because it is already in string. I don't need to convert it here. Alright, as we create an repr function which also takes the self as an argument, and then we return. So to return it, we need to write from which class the information is belong to. So I write here phone, the name of the class, and then we have the information which is self dot brand only, and then we have self and then we have self dot model. Now I am going to fill these arguments. I am naming in my phone. So these are the details, and now I'm going to print. The first we have is the str function, which is also we have the built-in str function. When we call this str function, it will directly call this. We have the built-in str, so I can directly call, which is my phone. We also have print retr repr, which is my phone. So now we call repr function by two ways. We can call it both str and repr by using these built-in statements repr or str, or we can call it also by variable name, and then we have this underscore repr. So as you can see, if I run this program, yes, basically these str and repr, these all the methods returns the objects. So these objects just return the object of the memory location where these all store. So we need to call this name of the variable to show the value. So as I write here, print my phone, so these all the values are appearing here. You can also see that when I call this variable with repr and this syntax, it is showing me the more information that repr method, and which it belongs to this class, which is phone, and this phone we have these two arguments, which is the brand, and we have the model here, the brand and the model. So there is so much details about, there are so many functions, include Unicode and format. These are the, we have just discussed the magic string magic methods. We also have the conversions, and we also have operators like add and subtract and multiple. We have also the division operator here, and this is the power function. So these I will put the link in the description. You should go through these methods for practice. Now let's proceed further. So basically in magical methods we have the concept of overloading. So what is overloading basically? So basically it is to overload, to add or subtract, or any operation, to perform any operation between the two objects. So let's take an example. So if I comment all these code, and right here let's take the example of addition. So it takes two arguments, the self and the other argument, and then I can directly return here self dot price need to be added with other. So basically other we need to give here my phone is equals to phone. We have the details Nokia. Yes, now it's all right. This is the my phone. I call it my phone 1. So I am going to copy this object and again print it. So I am calling it my phone 2, and this time I am changing the price, which is 1300. So as you can see, if I run this program, sorry, I did not print anything. First I need to print. So I am going to apply the add operation here. So I just write here my phone 1, add it to my phone, my phone 2. So as you can see, yes, so I just need to write here my phone dot price. I forgot to write here price. So as you can see, we have these two objects. So in these two objects we add anything, or we can also apply any other operation like add and subtract or division and multiplication. So to apply any operation between two objects is called overloading. So we have performed the addition, so you can also perform multiplication and subtraction and division. So now let's proceed further. So we have another. Now we are moving towards the polymorphism. So basically, what is polymorphism? The literal meaning of polymorphism basically is the condition of occurrence in different forms. It refers to the use of a single entity. Entity can be a method or an operator or an object to represent different types in different scenarios. So let's take an example. So suppose there is a class, I call it cat. So this class cat first have a initial function. It has self, name and age. So we need to assign it age. So we need to create another function, which is the info. This info take the self as an argument of the function, and I can directly print here I am a cat, my name is, I can write here self dot name. I need to use here F to write the string formatting, and my age is, I can write here self dot age. Alright, and then I'm going to create another function. I'm calling it sound. So this sound also take the self as an argument, and it just directly print meow. Alright, so suppose there is another class which is dog. So I'm going to, these all the informations will be needed in second. So I'm just another class, I'm naming it dog here, and these all must be same, that I am a dog, my name is this, and my age is this, and sound is bark. Alright, now fill the arguments. So we have, suppose cat1, because we already named the class cat, so the variable name must be different from the class. So the name is class cat, and suppose the name is kitty, and its age is 2.5, and we have a dog. Suppose its name is Fluffy. Fluffy, and its age is 4 years. Now I need to print from these variables, so I'm going to use for loop int. So I want to print the output in a tuple, so I am using here tuple in for loop here, that cat1 and dog1 variable. Alright, so we have animal, which is the sound function, first should appear first, and then we have animal dot info function, which is common, and then I want again for the dog I need to use here again sound function. So as you can see, if I run this program, you can see that the first we have is the sound, and then the information, and then again the sound. You can see that after that we have this, that we have the three arguments here. So first class, for the first class is 3, and for the second class it runs 3, because we are using here tuple, which has basically these two variables. So however, notice that we have not created a common superclass or linked the classes together in any way. You can see that we do not link these classes in any way. So even then we can pack these two different objects into a tuple and iterate through it using a common animal variable, which we are using here, variable animal. So it is possible due to polymorphism. So it can only be possible due to polymorphism. So we have these two functions common in these two classes. We can only call these two functions by using this same variable name animal here. So I hope the concept of polymorphism and all of the concept is clear. Thank you very much for sticking me at the end of this video. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video. Take care.